Congressman Jason Chaffetz, but he joins us today to share a special story about another congressman you probably don't know that much about.
Amazing person. While I was in Congress, I had the opportunity to serve along Congressman Sam Johnson, and after 27 years, one of the longest-serving representatives, he's retiring this year, but he's lived a lifetime of service. Have a look. He's one of the most beloved members of Congress on both sides of the aisle.
Of all the people I've ever had the pleasure to meet or serve with in Congress, there is only one that can be defined as an American hero.
Sam Johnson is one of the greatest living men that I know.
Our country is stronger for your selfless sacrifice and dedicated leadership.
After nearly 27 years of serving his constituents in the great state of Texas, Colonel Sam Johnson is retiring. A decorated fighter pilot, now at 88 years old, he uses his scooter to get around, but that hasn't slowed him down. When Congressman Scalise returned to the Capitol last year after recovering from being shot, Johnson challenged him to a scooter race.
Who won that race?
I did.
You've been racing your whole life, haven't you?
I try.
His service to his country began in 1951.
I just decided I wanted to fly airplanes, and you don't do that except in the military.
Over the course of his 29-year career with the United States Air Force, Johnson did a whole lot more than just fly airplanes. After 62 combat missions in Korea, he helped the Air Force test the effects of nuclear explosions on planes by flying right into them.
I flew through an airburst. I mean, no big deal.
Johnson was selected to fly lead solo with the elite Air Force Thunderbirds.
I heard this story about maybe flying a little too fast.
I flew up the waterfront supersonic and broke every window on the waterfront. And cost the Air Force $100,000, and they said, "Don't do that anymore." Yes, sir. Buzz Aldrin and I went to flying school together. We both got Korea assignments and were ordered over there at the same time. He's been a close friend the whole way, all the way to the moon and back.
While Buzz was gearing up to fly into space, Johnson was flying combat missions in Vietnam. And on his 25th mission, he was shot down, captured by the North Vietnamese, and taken as a prisoner of war. Buzz honored Johnson by wearing his POW bracelet when he landed on the moon.
What did that mean to you when he wore that bracelet of yours up on the moon?
Well, it meant a lot.
Johnson endured 7 years as a prisoner of war.
We didn't stop fighting from inside the cells, and it caused them a lot of havoc while we were there. And we ended up, they put us in single cells in a place we called Alcatraz.
42 months, more than 3 years, was spent in solitary confinement.
Fortunately, tapping on the wall with a code that we had, you could maintain contact with the other guys.
You came out of it, was it through prayer? Was it thinking of Shirley?
All of that. Thinking of Shirley, of course, and praying to God.
While Sam is a hero to many, his hero was his wife Shirley.
She was the greatest lady in the world.
I heard that at dinner she would set a place for you, is that right?
She did, because she knew I was coming back.
Seeing these American flags flying is heartrending for me, and one of the greatest things that I could ever hope to see coming back home.
So when you see these people disrespecting the flag, won't stand up and put their hand over their heart,
there's no reason to disrespect our flag. The United States of America, in my view, is the greatest nation in the world, and we should set an example for the rest of the world, and we do most of the time.
Johnson could have retired an American hero, but instead he decided to become a statesman.
Not everyone was happy with our government, but my fellow POW buddies and I decided we would stop griping about it and start working to fix it.
In 2016, the Ways and Means Committee honored Johnson by naming this hearing room the Sam Johnson Room and redecorating it in his honor.
They put put a note that you wrote in there. Do you remember what you wrote?
Freedom has a taste to those who almost die that the protected will never know. And that's what we fight for here day and night in the United States Congress. Freedom for every member of the United States of America.
Wow. Absolutely incredible.
I get inspired by ordinary Americans who do extraordinary things, and this person, Sam Johnson, is a true American hero.
How did you get to know his story? I know you served with him in Congress. How did you get to know him?
You know, there are amazing people, good people
story.
that live, that serve in Congress, but then when you actually hear his story, that story about flying through the nuclear cloud, nobody had ever heard that story before.
And he says
he did it 5 times.
He's like, no
No big deal. It's fine.
Jason, is there a lesson for the younger generation in the story you just told?
He sacrificed so much for his country because he loved the country. And he just, pull up your bootstraps and make it happen. And he did things that weren't expected of him, but he went above and beyond, and he did it his entire life.
I love how he talks about being a POW and still causing a lot of havoc. It's horrible that he was put into solitary confinement, but they continued to fight even in the worst of conditions.
When he came back from being in solitary confinement and he was able to go with the other prisoners of war, the story goes that he raised his hand and saluted and said, "Sam Johnson reporting for duty." It's emotional. You can't imagine what he went through.
Well, thank you for sharing that with us and
Thank you.
everybody watching.
Love it. More Fox and Friends. Moments away.